Okay, first things first, I need to go and get something. Beautiful. All right, whoever said that a BlackBerry wasn't useful? So this is an old BlackBerry headphone set. And I think it has a mic on there. That's what I want. So I'm just going to cut these off. The mic bit. And we're going to see if that works as a lapel. All right, I did want to share a couple of things that I learned from doing my first vlog on the weekend. But first I got to go get the mail. All right, well, that's done. And so now I can get on with it. I think, what I learned about doing my last vlog on the weekend was that, I think it took me about 6 or 7 hours as far as shooting and editing to get that thing off the ground. And I understand that it's supposed to be a time-consuming process, at least for your first one. But I think I learned very quickly that if I want to do this on a more regular basis, that I'm going to need to be a little bit more guerrilla about this. So I'm going to shoot more often, I think, on my iPhone. I'm going to edit more on my iPhone and see if I can construct some elements before I actually get into the editing process. So hopefully you enjoy this. All right, I'm just going to go through some of the photos that I mentioned previously. So I'm back here in my house now, and just wanted to go through some of these photos with you. So the first one here is of the Weeb family. It's a shot that I think I included in my last vlog, and I took it just a little while ago as part of a fall family photo shoot. And it was taken in Winnipeg's Exchange District, and I really love this area because it has a lot of the old character buildings from the beginning of the 19th century, and a lot of the cobblestone type design elements and things like that to the streets. Really nice buildings. So I took them into this area. I was kind of hoping for a bit more of a sunshiny day, because sometimes what happens, and I'll show you in a couple photos here, is that we get nice sunsets that come in through the buildings, and they really create some really nice drama. But I was actually very pleased with how these turned out. It was an overcast day, so it did offer some advantages. The light was really nice and soft, and that created a lot of opportunity for really good detail, not only in the highlights and the shadows. I got really good dynamic range happening here, and it worked out really well. So what I was able to achieve here was I kind of had this vision in my head to kind of recreate sort of the Beatles' Abbey Road album cover. And so I found this really nice area in the Exchange District, who had that cobblestone road to it, and thought it would work really well. And actually, if you can see the building there in the background, that worked out really well, because even though the light was really soft, it was still somewhat directional, because it was reflecting off that building in the back and then coming back to kind of give some backlight to the family. So you can see that there's kind of some rim lighting around the heads of some of those family members, and I think it worked out really well. Another note about how I shot this was I did happen to I was shooting it with my Nikon D7000 and an 85mm 1.8D. That particular setup tends to be pretty slow to focus, so I usually use it for portraits and things like that, but I wanted kind of that shallower depth of field, that longer lens feel, so that's why I chose to use that lens. But what I did end up doing was I kind of I had the family kind of go back and forth across the street a bunch of times, and I knew the path that they were going to be walking, and so I kind of picked a spot there on the road, and I focused on that. And when they kind of got into frame, I was able to take the shot without having to worry about missing it because of a focusing issue. So that's something to be considerate of there. Moving on to this next photo. So this is kind of what I was talking about when it comes to hard lighting. So I was in this area and got some really great light. I was kind of walking around late at night in the you know, up north here in Canada, we can get some really late sunsets because in the summertime, and this was probably somewhere in that end of June area, and the light was just coming in through the buildings really well. It was really warm light. It was really hard light, and you know, there was kind of a bike path running along the street, and I knew that if I waited there long enough that I would get exactly this shot. So I would have somebody coming by, and same sort of thing. I did focus on the street because I wasn't sure if I would get the shot. And actually, I shot this on an Olympus EPL7, so they were relatively fast to focus, but when you're backlighting, it does tend to get a little bit harder to focus. So I kind of I knew that with a micro four thirds camera, I'd get a little bit extra depth of field. So I wasn't too concerned if I kind of focused in the general area of the bike path, I would get a shot that was in focus. So I did the same sort of thing. I focused on the street, waited for the guy to come by on his bicycle, and snapped the shot. And this is what I got. Next photo here, similar into the second one there with the bicycle. This gentleman carrying his grocery bag or his bag of things across the street, and same sort of thing. I just you know, that one I think I took a little bit more time and I focused on him, and you know, the backlighting was still really strong, but not moving as fast because he wasn't on a bicycle, so I was able to get that shot. Obviously this shot was taken a little bit later, as you can kind of see that the light is moving to the other side of the buildings, and that's how I got that. So this final shot actually was taken with an iPhone, and I was kind of just surveying the light that was on the, you know, kind of the pillars there of the building, and this couple happened to walk from behind me. They kind of came up behind me, and I didn't really know they were there because I wasn't really paying attention, but I was able to whip out my iPhone and get this shot really quickly of them as they walk past. So I feel you know, fortunate. I think that was the first one I took in this area when I was just kind of exploring just after I had moved to Winnipeg here. So that's all for now. If you have any questions or comments, like the photos, don't like the photos, like the vlog, don't like the vlog, put your comments below. One other thing I did want to mention was one of the tricks that you can use to find out if you're going to get light coming through buildings and things like that is, and I use an app called the Photographer's Ephemeris. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. I'll link to the app in the comments below, but it's a really helpful app to figure out all kinds of different things, like when is sunset, sunrise. I think it even has moonrise, moonset in there, and you can actually use a map overlay to judge where the sun will be at certain times. So if you know you want to have the sun at a certain place at a certain time, you can kind of play around with those settings and find that. So I'll leave that link in the comments below. Again, any feedback in the comments below. If you like this video, thumb it up, and if you like what I'm doing here, hit the subscribe button. Thanks a lot.